chapter we have created one VPC. We name it my VPC and we give it the CIDR block 10.0.0./16, and then we created the two subnets. One is the basically private subnet and another is the public subnet. And the public subnet, we give the CIDR block the 10.0.1.0/24, and for the private subnet 10.0.2.0/24. And we also assign the auto public IP setting to the public subnet. Now let's move to the AWS console, and once we created this our VPC and the subnets, so few things have been created here by default. One is the route table. As you can see that our VPC ID is this is the default VPC, and the IP the ID VPC ID is this, and our custom VPC have IP ID this. It's a long number and the name, but we can just remember it for the last 2-3 digits, like the 3F7D. So if we go there in the route tables, and we can see that there are the two route tables as are here. Okay, so to identify that which route table is associated with our custom VPC, we can just check out the route table. Okay, so this is the 3F7D, which is the one, and here it is the name also written here, the my VPC. So this is the default route which has been created here. There is the one thing. The other thing is the network ACL. Okay, you can again see that there are the couple of network ACLs are here. The one is for the default, which was earlier created by default, and this one is for our my VPC, which we created. And similarly the security groups are also here, like this one is the security group, default security group for our custom VPC, and this one is the default security group for the default VPC. Okay, so these things have been created automatically here. So now move to the first thing first. For this public subnet, we have to have the internet access. So to access the internet, we have to create an internet gateways here. So when we go there, we can find there is the only one internet gateway is here, which is the default. Okay, so for this we have to create another internet gateway for our VPC. So we'll name it the my internet gateway. Okay, and just hit create and next. That's it. So this is the internet gateway which we have created right now, but it is not associated with any VPC, so therefore it is the state is detached. So we'll just select it and attach it to our VPC. So here you see only the my VPC in the option list, but not the default VPC. It is because you can only attach one internet gateway to the one VPC only. So right now this my VPC is the only VPC which does not has any internet gateway, therefore it is in the list. So I just select it and let it attach. So this internet gateway is now attached with the my VPC, which is our custom VPC. Now I'll go to the route tables. In the route table, we have the one default route table, okay, which has been created by default with our VPC. So we'll select it, and here we can see there's the route. In the route we have CIDR block 10.0.0./16, which is the CIDR block of our VPC, not any subnet. Okay, so it's a parent CIDR block, and this route table ensures that all the computers or the subnets within this CIDR block, like these two subnets, can communicate with each other, because all those subnets comes under this parent subnet or the CIDR block. So these two can communicate with each other because of this route table. Okay, so if we go to the subnet association, we can see there's no particular subnet is associated with it. The both subnets are representing here. Okay, so we'll not associate any subnet here, we just leave it as is. But for the internet route, we have to create a public route table so that we can route the internet traffic to the internet gateway. Okay, so for this we'll create a public route, and we'll associate it with my VPC. Okay, and this one is the public, and this one we can name it as the which was the default, we can name it as a private. Okay, in the public route table which we just created right now, and another thing, the default route table which which we have seen earlier is the main route table. So you can see that this is the main, yes, and this one is which we created is not main. So we'll select the new route table which is the public, and we'll go into the route and edit the route table. Okay, and we just associate these first we associate this edit the subnet association, and we'll assign it to the public subnet. Okay, and then we'll go to the route tables, and we edit the route and add the route, and we'll add the 0.0.0./0 means the all other traffic other than this, and it will be routed to the internet gateway. When we click internet gateway, our internet gateway will appear here, and that's it, and we just save the route. So that's it. So we have these subnet associated, public subnet associated with this route, and we have the internet gateway, and we have the private subnet as well, which is now only associated with the private subnet. Okay, that's it. So we'll move to the EC2 instances, and we create two EC2 instances associated with these subnets. First we'll create a public machine, and Windows will create a Windows machine for the public subnet. So let's go there and choose a Windows server, and then just next. And here in this configuration settings, then we'll leave the rest of the thing as is, but in the network section we'll choose the rather than we'll choose the default VPC, we'll choose the my VPC which we created earlier. The other thing which we have to select is because we are creating a public machine, public subnet machine, public facing, so we'll choose the public subnet. Okay, so there are the two subnets which we created here, the private and public, so we'll choose the public. And when we choose the public subnet, the auto assign public IP address use the subnet setting. So if it is enabled, so it will get automatically assigned, but otherwise we can also use the disable and enable settings as well. Okay, rest is we'll leave it as is, and just add storage and tag we can name it front end server, or the web server, which is the public server. security group, so it's an RDP machine is there enabled, and we can later add the port 80 as well or whatever. Next, launch the key pair we have to choose and create a new key pair. So we'll just name it a key pair name, and let's suppose we just give it the name is the Sydney. Okay, and download, launch instance. So instance is being launched. So while it's getting launched, we'll create another machine for the private subnet. Okay, so again we'll choose the Windows machine, and next, and here we'll choose the my VPC and the private subnet. Okay, so the private subnet has these auto assigned subnet is the disabled, so it is disabled now. Okay, so next, storage, add security, add tags, purpose, backend server, security group, and launch, and we'll use the same security key, launch. So there are the two machines. One is this the first one, which is the public, and or we can name it our web server or front end server, and the other is the backend server or the our database server. Okay, so if we choose the our front end server, the public server or the web server, we can see we have the public IP address assigned to it. But if we choose the our backend server, we can see there's no public IP address assigned to it. Okay, so that's it. It is because we didn't allow it. Okay, so let's connect with this thing, and so let's connect to the our front end web server, which is the has the public IP address, and to connect it we have to get the password first. So the PEM file which we have downloaded it, let's open it first, and then we go to the action, get Windows password, and paste it here and decrypt the password. So here is the password of this administrator, and we just copy it in a file here. So now let's go to the remote desktop, and here we'll copy this IP address. So it's connected now. Connected to the our public server or the web server, but to connect the private server, we have to go through this public server to the private server, because the private server is not publicly accessible. So just to make you understand this, this public server has our public IP address, this one, and we have the one web server here into the public subnet, and it has the public IP address this, and it has the private IP address this. Okay, similarly we have the backend server, our database server, which does not has any public IP address. So if it, because it does not has any public IP address, so we cannot connect it from the any public internet, like from our home or our office, but it does has the private IP address. So we'll copy it and we'll paste it here, and this is our database server. Okay, and it does not have any public address. So to connect this backend server, first we have to connect with this our public server through this IP address, and then we have to remote desktop this private IP address from this public server to this IP address. Okay, for this we'll do it right now, but again we have to know the password of this database server. So for this I will do the same activity. We'll go to this and get Windows password, and for Windows password, copy this spam file, paste it here, decrypt, and that's it, and we'll copy it. Okay, it's fine. So we'll copy this IP address first, and then we'll go to the public server, which is here, and we'll open the remote desktop connection, and from here we will try to connect our private database server. Okay, it is connected and it's asking for the password. So username is administrator and password is this. Just remember me, and it is connected. So now we have connected to our private server as well. So just to give you the clear understanding, first we connect to our public server through this IP address, and from here we did the remote desktop again to our private server into the database server. Okay, so right now where we are here into our private server, and you can see there's then a mark here, so it says the node internet access, because we didn't assign it any internet gateway. So if supposedly we just open it, internet browser, so it will not run. But if we minimize it, so I'll come to this machine, and here is the internet is available, and if I open this, so internet is working on the public machine. So that's it from this lecture, that we have created the public subnet and the private subnet, and then we created the two machines into the public and the private subnet. But again, internet is also, this machine cannot be should not be connected to from the internet, but it does require internet to download patches or the software, things like that. So how we can connect this private machine to the internet, and what are the other things which we can do into the VPC, we'll look into the the next chapter, inshallah.